Okey, Prema Mataji, boleh.
Okay. Om Jananati Mirandasya Jana Jana Salakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Next slide, Mataji.
All right.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shivashari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh, Jai. Thank you, Prema Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, so we move to the class today. Hare Krishna, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Chapter 15 today. So I'm taking you all to India. This is Ujjain. ISKCON Ujjain. These are Sri Sri Gauranitai, Lord Nitai, Mahaprabhu and Lord Nitai from ISKCON Ujjain, India. Okay, Sri Sri Radha Madhana Mohan, also from the same temple, ISKCON Ujjain, India. And this is Sri Sri Krishna Balaram, ISKCON Ujjain, India. So they have three sets of deities. Gauranitai, Sri Sri Radha Madana Mohan, Sri Sri Krishna Balarama. So the temple is established by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. He left his body last year, today, 4th July. I remember we were in Cameron there was a brief travel allowance, so we went there, and the next day we heard the news, and then the next day we came back. We just couldn't stay, so we came back. So all glories to His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. He's a very melodious singer. He's very good singer. So there's a lot of songs available sung by Maharaj. Oh yeah, Maharaj. The reason for Maharaj departure was COVID. He became positive, but he had the lungs was damaged, so it was very difficult after that. Okay, so prayers to the spiritual teachers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikna Vinasha Narsimha Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The program is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna Aradhana. Understanding of Gita. That destination is called Sanatana sky. Sanatana means eternal, spiritual sky. Yad Gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. All right, it comes into being, it stays for some time, produces some byproducts like children, all right, dwindles and vanishes. These are the 6 processes a living entity goes through. Okay, it comes into being, takes birth, then stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the law of the material world. Whether we use an example, this body, or a piece of fruit, or anything, all right? But beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. So we are going to see that information we're going to see today. Actually, we already saw in level 1, so we're going to see that again, level 2. That world consists of another nature, which is Sanatana, means eternal. The Jiva, okay, the spirit soul, is also described as Sanatana, eternal. Soul is eternal. Okay, and the Lord is also described as Sanatana, because the Lord is eternal. So we, coming from Krishna, the Lord, also eternal. Okay, we have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all qualitatively one, we have the same quality as Krishna, qualitatively one. The Sanatana Dharma or sky, the Sanatana Supreme Personality, and the Sanatana living entities, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatana occupation. Revive means awaken the dormant position. Or Sanatana Dharma, that is our eternal occupation, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities. So this also we will see. But all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. That is called our pure life. Okay. So the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, or rather the whole existence of the Vedic scriptures and everything, so Bhagavad Gita is the cream of the Vedas, right, is to revive our Sanatana Dharma, to remind us what we are actually. Okay, who am I? Who are we? All right, so to revive our Sanatana Dharma, which is to serve the Supreme Lord. So whatever duty that we are doing now is our commitment on this material world. But beyond that, the soul has a prescribed duty. So that is to serve the Supreme Lord. Okay, so there is this slide that I always explain before we go into our chapter. This one I bring in especially to reinstate or reinforce again and again why are we learning Jnana Yoga? So we are in the section of Jnana Yoga. So for a change, I've invited somebody to present this slide for us. Mataji, are you here? Okay, I would like to invite Tamare Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for agreeing. I'm so sorry you called me, I couldn't pick up.
Hello, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly, Mataji.
Okay, my earphone is actually faulty. One side is not working, so
It's
I was
clear.
wondering.
It's clear.
Okay, okay. Um, okay. The entire Bhagavad Gita is actually about bhakti. So let me just explain a little bit on the Bhagavad Gita as a whole, if you don't mind.
No problem, Mataji, please.
Okay, because I was just looking through a few things, I thought I would share this. So Bhagavad Gita is basically started with a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna that took place in Kurukshetra at the moment of our war at Mahabharata. Okay, so Arjuna become very confused whether to fight or not to fight, and Arjuna asks a question to Krishna. So this is where Bhagavad Gita is, came about. And so when Krishna answers, so he basically tells us what is life, how we should live our life. And just now you were saying is basically the fundamental question of who am I, and what am I supposed to do in this life? How are we supposed to live our life? This is basically dharma, right? Okay, so based on this Bhagavad Gita, the first 6 chapters, basically, we talk about achieving Bhakti Yoga through works. Basically, we talk about or understand the knowledge of self. All right, so the third or second part, Bhagavad Gita actually divided into 3 portions, right? The first one is chapter 1 to 6, 7 to 12, then 13 to 18. So the second portion is Bhakti. Bhakti is Krishna explaining the true form of Supreme Lord. He reveals his how devotion, the beauty of devotion. It also shows his ultimate cosmetic or cosmic form of Krishna. And finally, achieving bhakti through knowledge. This is where we learn about guna, learn about the relationship between Atma and Brahma. So through knowledge, we attain our Krishna. All right, correct?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Yes.
And Jnana Yoga is basically to understand how we can detach from the Maya, the world, and how we can become attached to Krishna by performing devotional services and so forth. And finally, utilizing this knowledge to achieve liberation or attain devotion. That's it.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji. Yeah, thank you so
Yay.
much for the Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell.
Yeah,
You,
thank
you
you.
got all the points, the introduction, how the Bhagavad Gita came about. And the first section is about achieving bhakti through words. So you mentioned about we learning about self. And so this part here, what we want to understand that Krishna talk about achieving bhakti through karma. When you do your duty and then you surrender the results. So in that way also one can develop bhakti towards Krishna. And then this is a second section of Bhakti Yoga. So from 7 to 12, Krishna talks about Bhakti. So you're right, Krishna reveals about devotion. He reveals about cosmic form, the universal form, and the intricacies of devotion. So here, the means to achieve Bhakti is work. The means to achieve Bhakti is Bhakti itself. And the last section is Jnana Yoga. So we can actually separate like this, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So these are the main 3 parts of this sandwich. So the last section is Jnana Yoga, means achieving Bhakti through knowledge. So all are going to Bhakti, but there's different ways. Okay, so that's why Bhagavad Gita is actually about Bhakti. So now from chapter 13 to 18, we are in section Jnana Yoga. So what is the benefit for us is we need to understand certain knowledge. We have to acquire some knowledge to detach ourselves from Maya. So why we want to detach? Because when we detach from something, then we can attach ourselves to Krishna. We have to detach ourselves from something to be attached with something else, and then use this knowledge to attain devotion or liberation. Okay, so yes, thank you, Mataji. Okay, so entering chapter 15, the synopsis of this chapter is this: the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Detach, right? This is the key word just now. One who understands Krishna, this is Krishna, one who understands Krishna's supreme identity. So after knowing this knowledge, what do we do? All right, so what is our next course of action? So after we understand that about Krishna's supreme identity, we surrender unto him and engage us in his devotional service. So if you notice in all the chapters, Krishna will end the chapter by, although Krishna gives a lot of technical knowledge and everything, right? So at the end, one who is a devotee can easily surpass this. One who is a devotee who can easily understand this. So Krishna declares this kind of statements. So before this here, Krishna, Mataji also mentioned about the gunas. So we learned all these gunas. So that is the stepping stone, right? In chapter 30, we learned about how the elements in our body interact with the material nature. And then in chapter 14, the three modes. Okay. So now we understand that we are acting forced by these modes of material nature. Okay. All right. So those are the three sections. And here in this chapter 15, Krishna is going to give some more knowledge about the Supreme Person. So that's why the chapter title is The Yoga of the Supreme Person. Okay, the first 5 slokas, Krishna will talk about how to detach from this material world. I mean, he's going to talk about the nature of the material world briefly, and then he's going to talk about how we're going to detach ourselves from this. And then the rest of the chapter is about Krishna's position externally, internally, means in cosmic wise or personally wise. And as a super soul, what is he doing for us? Okay. All right, so let's move on. Okay, this is the comparison I made. Okay, now this chapter is very short. I think this is the shortest chapter in Bhagavad Gita. There's only 20 slokas. Okay, so we have added a couple of extra slokas only. So otherwise, pretty much brief also this chapter, but it's very deep, it's very interesting. So the first section is about, like I mentioned, the 5 slokas is about how to become detached from the material world. Krishna will talk about this material world. All right, so how the material world is a reflection of spiritual world. So the spiritual world is the reality, and what we have is a reflection. All right, and then how to escape from this material world's attachment and attain the spiritual world. All right, and then again, we actually saw this also, right, in chapter 14, how we transmigrate. What actually makes us transmigrate? Okay, because of our desires, right? Because our desires, we develop certain body. So Krishna talks about this transmigration. Okay, and then in regards to this, what should be our goal then? So when we learn about transmigration, so what's next? What we should do? How do we use this knowledge? Okay, and then like I mentioned earlier also, Krishna will talk about his position as our maintainer, how he maintains. Okay, and then there's a summary of Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta, Veda means Vedas, all right, knowledge. Anta means end of knowledge. So what is the end of knowledge? What are we learning here? We are approaching the end of Bhagavad Gita already. So Krishna wants to say, what is the end of this knowledge? What is the end of the Vedas? What is the goal? Okay, and finally Krishna say, what does it mean by knowing Krishna? Okay, so when we understand this position of Krishna, when we understand all this knowledge, so what should happen to us, what we should do, what is our next course of action? Okay, how to achieve perfection, knowing all this. So just 20 slokas in it, actually very fast you can read translation purport. So after the class, I hope you're inspired to read. It's a very loving loving chapter for me. Okay, 15.1. This sloka is about how Krishna talks, referring the material world. It's like a banyan tree. So let's see, what is he talking about? Yeah, Kajai Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha urdhvamulam adasakham ashvattam prahur avyayam chandasmi asha parnani yastam vedasa vedavid. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so you can focus on this picture here. Okay, so this picture here, can you see this, the tree like normal tree, right? This normal, this is what we see. The trunk is here, the leaves are on top. And then we see here, there's a reflection here. There's a small snippet here. Okay, here the root starts here, and then the trunk, and then the leaves all are here. So Krishna is talking about this one here. Krishna is talking about this, that in spiritual world, there is this tree. All right, so for us, it looks like inverted, right? But actually, Krishna said there is this imperishable tree in the spiritual world where it has roots upward. Okay, urdhva moolam means the roots are up. Okay, and then adha sakham means the branches are down. If you see, the branches will go down, or you can see here also. So this is usually this is the least, this is the least that we would expect from a tree. The tree wouldn't look like this, but Krishna say there is a imperishable tree, which is referring to a spiritual world. The root is here, the root is upward, the branches going downward. Okay, but here in material world, we are the reflection of this imperishable banyan tree, imperishable tree of the spiritual world. Okay, so Krishna is saying that we are entangled in these branches and the trees, and these trees are usually nourished by water. Okay, materially speaking, the trees are nourished by water. All right, but in our material life, how our trees are being nourished. Okay, so that one we will see. So basically, this sloka is about Krishna saying that the material world is like a banyan tree. Why are we referring to our material life like a banyan tree? So we will see that now. Okay, so this is the opposite, right? This is what Krishna is saying. This is the tree that we have in spiritual world, and what we have here is this. Okay, so if you look at the picture that I gave you, you can see on the top, this is Krishna's description of the tree. The tree originally starts from here. The creation originally starts from here. And then if you can see here, there's Brahma here. Then you can see this is the root. Okay, if this is not clear, you can look at the picture that I gave you in the WhatsApp. So Krishna says that, okay, let me try to focus this here. Okay, so here the creation starts from Krishna right here. And then for us, he's the creator? Lord Brahma is the creator. He's sitting here. All right, here we have all the elevated beings. Okay, all the elevated beings here, the liberation is here. So this, once you renounce your desire, you will go here. So Brahma is here, and you can see this is Lord Indra. He's on the white elephant. I'm not sure who is this. So these are flying beings. So I think this must be the denizens, special denizens of heavenly planets. And then you can see here these Vedic hymns. The leaves are like Vedic hymns. Later we will see part by part. And then as you go down, when you go down, okay, here somebody is praying, right? So this is religiosity. So these are all good things here, all the topmost beings. And then as you go down gradually, you see people are doing yagya here. And then people are, going on with their daily activities. And then as you go down, you will see activities like this, sense gratification. And then it goes down, impious acts. And then you have this hunter trying to hunt deers. And then here you have somebody's murdering. And like that, as you go down, as you slide down this tree, you're going lower and lower and lower. We are becoming animals, right? So we have tiger here, we have snake. I think this is oh, I can't use my, all right, I hope you can just see, can't use my laser point. Okay, you have animals like horse here, cow, tiger, dog, reptiles, tortoise, and there is this monitor lizard or something. Okay, so that way, we gradually decline, going down like that. This is the highest. So basically what he's saying is we try to elevate ourselves throughout this species of lives and go up here, and finally we want to reach up here. Okay, so now we see what is wrong with our banyan tree, our material life tree. Okay, now you see this. So generally, let me open all this. Okay, the beauty of a tree generally are the leaves. Okay, so the leaves, okay, listen carefully here, the leaves of this tree are like the Vedic hymns, right? So this Vedic hymns means the Vedic scriptures, the information that we have in Vedic scriptures. So what is the benefit of these Vedic scriptures? Like I always mentioned, Vedic scriptures are like handbook. Okay, basically there are 4 goals that one can attain by utilizing Vedic scriptures in their life. So we will see that what are those. Okay, so basically it's regulating our life to achieve what we want, how we want to enjoy the life. Okay, regulated. All right. So how do these the leaves are like Vedic hymns, and it meant to elevate us, to go up to Lord Brahma. It should go up. Okay. All right, so people are attracted to this Vedic injunction because it describes enjoyments. It allows us to enjoy. All right, so that's how people attracted to material world, because when they do certain things prescribed by the Vedic scriptures, they are able to fulfill their desires, fulfill their needs. All right, so the purpose of Vedic hymns is actually to elevate oneself gradually, and it should take us to higher planets. All right, so that's the purpose. Okay, so these, and then next we look at these branches, the branches and the twigs. So you look at together. So the twigs are like the sense objects. These are the working senses, our senses, right? We perceive things, we enjoy these things. When we perceive, we act accordingly. All right, so these branches, our activities are nourished by 3 modes of material nature, right? Generally, trees are nourished by water, but these branches of our material life tree is nourished by 3 modes of material nature. So according to the modes that we acquire, according to the mode that is present dominantly in us, we tend to enjoy certain activities. All right, so like that, our activities revolve around here, the leaves and twigs and the branches. Okay, uh, because of this, our activities like ongoing all the time, and we like a bird, like jumping from here to here to here to here, from meaning jumping means we are changing bodies accordingly, according to the material modes of material nature. So we saw earlier in the picture, you have it in your phone, right? So you can see different level, we have different living entities. So sometimes we go up, sometimes we go down, sometimes we move horizontally, sometimes we go upwards, sometimes we go downwards, so like that. So we are keep moving in the tree, we are always in the tree only. All right, so what happens here? This root, which is supposed to lead us to Lord Brahma, all right, with the leaves, all right, supposed to elevate us. Okay, fruit means whatever activity we do, we have results, right? So that is our enjoyment. And because we are so when lust is satisfied, what do we have? Greed. So like this, we want to plant some more, reap fruit some more, right? So as we want to reap further, we will sow further. All right, so like that, we act and then reap, act and then reap. So this process is going on, and as this activity keep going on, we are actually growing our roots deep down, because we want to enjoy these fruits. The roots go down, we don't know where the root is ending. All right, the real meaning of the root is to move upward to Lord Brahma's abode and further, where creation begins. So when we understand this tree, where we're supposed to move, instead of going deep down where the root has no end, where the leaf also don't know where is ending, so many leaves, the tree is so big. All right, so by understanding this, we want to move accordingly. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So here, This is how the tree is nourished. I can repeat here, as a tree is nourished by water. So this tree means the tree in our material life is nourished by the three modes of material nature. A normal tree is growing and moving and thriving because of the water. And how our material life tree is thriving or moving is by the three modes of material nature. We are moving, right? We saw how the binding force is there, how our desires are there, and then how the modes are conditioning us. So when I say all this, you can I hope you can bring back all these binding forces in three modes, right? Sometimes we find that a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water, and sometimes a tract is very green. Similarly, where particular modes of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of life are manifested accordingly. So you remember the tree, right? We have different living species of lives at different levels of the tree. So we want to move upward. Okay, so yeah, so we are like the bird. We are jumping from branch to branch, enjoying the fruits of the tree. Okay, now I tell you what are the 4 things that we are seeking to enjoy. So generally we talk about general enjoyment, right? Anybody knows what are the 4 things that Vedas are giving us, the benefit of the Vedas? Chanakya Pandit said, a man is in pursuit of these 4 things. If he doesn't pursue these 4 things, then his life is a waste. All right, maybe at either one, right? Anybody knows? There are 4 things that we are supposed to achieve by following these Vedas. No idea? Okay, let me show you. These are called Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. This is not in your slide actually, so I just want to tell you, because we want to know what is the purpose of the Vedas then, right? Why is it allowing us to enjoy then if it's not so good? All right, it's actually to elevate ourselves like a pyramid. It should go up. All right, first is Artha. I'm not sure if this is the correct sequence, but these are the 4 goals of the Vedas. Artha means security, like profession, wealth. Okay, how to achieve this using the Vedas. Next is Kama, pleasure, desires. Okay, how to achieve this properly. So the Vedas guide us, help us. All right. Dharma means justice, politics. These are the information that you can find in Vedas. Finally, we should go for moksha. Moksha means liberation from repeated births and death. All right, so the idea of the tree, right? The idea of these Vedic scriptures, or the specifically the hymns, right, is to elevate oneself to higher platform. Okay. However, what happens to us? We become entangled. We're becoming more and more entangled in the complexity. Actually, the slide earlier, the little Gokul slide had the explanation. Is Prabhupada's explanation how we try to lord it over the nature. We want to make so many arrangements, but at the end, what happens is we are getting more and more entangled in the complexities. So the roots go deeper, the trees go bigger, you just don't know where to start, where to end. It becomes complex. Okay, so what we need to do is we want to search out the origin of the tree. So if you look at your WhatsApp image, right? So where is the origin of the tree is coming? So the root of the material existence is coming from Lord Brahma. All right, he's the creator, right? He's a secondary creator, secondary roots in the human planetary system. All right, the origin of the tree is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course. So we want to find out what is the way out then, Mataji, right? So we want to search for that Supreme Person. Now, how do we search this Supreme Person? How do we elevate ourselves beyond that, the origin of the root? All right, is to hear from a realized person. We have to seek guide to hear. Everything starts from hearing, and by hearing we want to surrender to the Lord. All right, we surrender to the Lord. How? We surrender to a guru first. Okay, and we give up false prestige, we give up our illusion, we become free from dualities. Okay, we learn to tolerate these challenges, and this is how we can elevate ourselves. Okay, so how do we exactly do this? Yes, by hearing. So what does this how does this hearing benefit us? So let's see. Now, we know that this tree is very strongly rooted. It's so strongly rooted because that much of material desires tied to the fruits of the fruitive activities. So who can tell me how do we detach ourselves from a strong, how do we uproot this tree, or how do we demolish this tree? How do we manage this? You want to remove a tree out of your way. What do you do? Anybody can answer. What do you do to this kind of tree? A tree, we're talking about normal tree. What do you do? What do you do to the tree?
Use vairagya to cut.
Cut. Okay, so Kajai Mati
Use
said,
vairagya to cut it.
okay. How do you cut a tree, Mataji? A tree. Kajai Mataji said, cut the branches first. Anybody else? How do we cut the, okay.
Normally they must poison the
Poison, huh?
poison the
Okay, so conventionally, when I asked this question to my level 1, they gave me 2 answers. Okay, let me see whether no food, using an axe. Okay, no food, yeah, that is good also. We don't feed, we don't nourish it. All right, so we want a fast solution. So I got 2 answers from my level 1. One is okay, so we have axe here. Somebody answered axe, so we must use an axe. So that is to cut a tree. I got another answer from my level 1, chainsaw. That's another answer, so very interesting. Now, how do we cut? We can't use an axe to cut ourselves, right? We cannot use a cut. So what do we do? Just now Chandra Prabha Mataji said, vairagya. Vairagya means determination. Very good, Mataji. Okay, so we cut the attachment. Correct. So to cut the tree in our life is to use the weapon of detachment. Now, what kind of axe you must use to cut a tree? Next question. Very good. Detachment. Yes, that's the answer. Now, how do we cut a tree? We have an axe now. We have a weapon now. So how are we going to cut the tree? What kind of axe we want to use? What kind of axe? What kind of kapak? A gold or silver, or what kind of kapak? A big one. Bhakti. Big one. Okay, apa lagi? What kind of? Yes, very good. Sharp one. So we need to sharpen our axe. How do we sharpen our axe? So many questions. All right, let's see. Okay, how do we intellect? Very good. Mataji, you're very close. Very good. Amita, yes, thank you. Knowledge. Sharpen with knowledge. Very good. So this is the answer. We want to cut this strongly rooted tree. Strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. So we don't want to take axe and go cut everybody. Okay. Our weapon is the detachment. And this detachment is to be sharpened with knowledge. Knowledge, detachment. So with knowledge, we can practice discrimination. We know what is right, what is wrong, what is needed, what is not needed, what is temporary, what is permanent. So these are the knowledge. Okay, so Krishna explains this in this verse, 15.3. Ishadamai Mataji, are you still there? I think Mataji wanted to. Oh, you're here? Okay, okay. Sorry, Mataji.
Okay. Bhagavad Gita 15.3 and 4. Na rupam asheha tato paranyate nando na chatena cha sapratishta swatam inamsu vinutamunam asanga sastrena pritena chitva tata patam tat parimakitayam yasmin katana niwatatim pudyaha tam iwa chatyam purusam paye yata plariti prasrita punani. The real form of these three cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends where it begins or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Okay, just 1 second, Mataji. Just 1 second, yeah. Sorry, Mataji, my girl has a class. Forgot to give her the link. Okay, so we saw that how the twigs can continuously engage us in sense gratifications, and because of that, we are jumping from branch to branch. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, right? All right, no one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. Okay, so we are all right. Vairagya, somebody mentioned about Vairagya. By determination, we cut down with this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. And how do we do that? To seek the original place, and we want to go there. Okay, knowing that the Supreme Personality is where everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Okay, so the tree is so huge that it is impossible to get away from it. Okay, so we want to cut it down with an act of detachment and renunciation. Determination, detachment, now we have renunciation, vairagya, anything. Okay, so with this knowledge, this acts is sharpened with knowledge and discrimination. So this is how Krishna is giving us solution, how to become detached from
The devotional service, the devotional service that we do actually can give us the determination, because there is a break between devotional service and knowledge.
There is a what?
There's a break. No, finally we are using intellect and knowledge, not the devotional service, right? So yeah, finally we are using intellect and knowledge to get the vairagya. So how the devotional service actually helping us to cut this tree.
Okay, so if you see, the third section of Bhagavad Gita is to achieve Bhakti Yoga through knowledge. But one who cannot acquire the technical knowledge can also achieve Bhakti through Bhakti. So that is how Krishna has given the Bhagavad Gita. Achieving Bhakti through Karma Yoga, achieving Bhakti through Bhakti, achieving Bhakti through Jnana Yoga. So the knowledge somehow helps us to know about ourselves. So this is the Sankhya philosophies all we learned. And knowledge is also about Krishna. Knowledge is about what is this banyan tree in our life? Where are we headed to? And by acquiring this knowledge, what we should do. So these are all in the Jnana Yoga section. So some people, they gain this information by acquiring knowledge. But sometimes we have stories, right? People can also achieve this freedom from repeated cycle of birth through devotion itself. Like you said, yes, we need to get determination, the vairagya, through knowledge. So through knowledge, we can get bhakti. All right, through bhakti, we can acquire determination. So there are various ways to cultivate the determination, this vairagya. When we practice devotion, all the other qualities automatically comes in without extra endeavors separately. So that's how. All right. So how do we acquire knowledge and how do we cultivate detachment? We need to practice something, isn't it? So that practice is the bhakti yoga in practice. If we just have the knowledge and if we don't put into practice, how are we going to achieve the goal? All right, so we acquire some knowledge theoretically and then we want to practice the questions and then only we can sit for the exam, right? So that's how we can ace it. All right, if you do not practice remembering Krishna, all this Ravanam, Kirtanam, Smarana, these are all remembering. If you do not in practice remember Krishna, how are we going to remember Krishna at the time of death? Yeah, so knowledge comes handy to understand Krishna better. All right, but without this technical knowledge, also one can remember Krishna. So that's the beauty of bhakti. Okay, so that's it. All right, so I hope that's okay, Mataji. And if anybody wants to add, also can. I'm okay. Buddhi is intellectual. Okay, so this is how we're going to cut it. Cut down this strongly rooted tree with weapon of detachment. Okay, so the sharpening of the axe needs to be done by knowledge and discrimination. Okay, avoid this. Okay, so how do we detach from material world? We want to let go something lower. All right, to do that, we need to attach ourselves to something superior. So how do we detach? We need to attach ourselves to spiritual world. We want to know, oh, there is something superior to this material world. If you know this material world is just 1/4 of Krishna's creation, and that the rest of it is spiritual. So we are stuck here with this small place here, the small cage. We want to break away and go to spiritual world. Okay, so Krishna says here, I am the origin of everything. Therefore, to get out of the entanglement of the strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. So we can use the knowledge and we practice devotional service. And that's how in practice, we can surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrenders unto Krishna, one becomes detached automatically from this material extension. You need to let go something lower to achieve something higher. If not, you cannot. The train and the railway track cannot run at the same time. One has to stop and one has to move. Okay, so we cut the tree with the weapon of detachment. Okay, and that will enable us to increase detachment to Krishna. It's very difficult to attach here and also attach there. We cannot move far. We have to let go some things. All right, so the goal of this whole verse is we need to learn about Krishna. All right, that means the axe is being sharpened by knowledge, and then we develop attachment towards him by using our discrimination, what is right, what is wrong, right? And then gradually we can detach from this material entanglement. Okay, so we are going to the source. Okay, we are still at the tree here. So everybody knows about family tree, so where we come from, our grandfather, great grandfather, and so on. So we want to know what is our origin. So our origin is Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma comes from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. So Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is one of the Purusha avatar of Krishna. So basically, ultimately, it's coming from Krishna. So therefore, we remember earlier I said we need to find who is our origin. So the origin is Krishna. Now we want to increase our attachment to Krishna. So to increase attachment to Krishna, we need to cut the material connection. Okay, so I'll read this. Yet one has to find out the cause. I am the son of my father is the son of such and such a person, etc. By searching in this way, one comes to Brahma, who is generated by the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, like I explained just now. Finally, in this way, when one reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the end of research work. One has to search out that origin of this tree, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How? Through the association of persons who are in knowledge of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the key point here. Then what happens? By understanding, one becomes gradually detached from this false reflection of reality. And by knowledge, one can cut the connection and actually become situated in the real tree, right? So we are we're in the reflection of the spiritual tree. Okay. So that's it. I have one story. Just give me one second. I just want to check on my daughter. Okay, so I have a story here. Coming up with a story. Okay, before that. So one time there was a Narada Muni asked Brahma, "Are you the source?" And Lord Brahma said, "No, I am not. I'm also taking the source from Lord Krishna." So despite saying this, Lord Brahma has actually got bewildered. Remember the story of the Lord Brahma hiding the cows and the cowherd boys? Did I tell the story in this level 1 or level 2? I'm not sure. Okay, so this is another story. So one day, Brahma came to meet Krishna. And then the story goes, he's bewildered to see other Brahmas with more number of heads. Okay, let's go to the story. Yeah. So one day, Lord Brahma came to see Krishna in Dwaraka. Okay, in Dwaraka. And then the doorman asked, when the doorman came to attend to Lord Brahma told that doorman, "Can you please go and tell Krishna that Brahma is here?" Okay, so when the doorman went to tell Krishna, as Brahma is here, Krishna asked him, "Which Brahma?" So the doorman went back to Lord Brahma and said, "Krishna asked, which Brahma?" "What do you mean, which Brahma?" "I'm Brahma. Please inform Lord Krishna that I am the four-headed Brahma, who is the father of the four Kumaras." Okay, so the doorman also informed Krishna accordingly, and the Lord Brahma went in to see Krishna. Okay, so after offering obeisance and all this usual welcoming process and everything, and Lord Krishna asked Lord Brahma, "Okay, so tell me, Lord Brahma, why have you come here?" And Lord Brahma said, Actually, I can tell you why I came here later, but first I want to ask you, why did you even ask me which Brahma? Are you saying there are other Brahmas apart from me in this universe?" He asked Krishna like that. Then Krishna smiled and he quickly summoned all the Brahmas from other universes. And they were, if you see this picture here, there were Brahmas with 10 heads, some having 20, some have 100,000, some 10 millions, and some with one with 100 million, and some cannot even, you can even count the number of faces they had. Okay, so there were also many other demigods came, but our story is about Lord Brahma, right? So I just cut that short. And then when this four-headed Brahma saw this, all this, this is opulence of Krishna, right? And he became very bewildered, and then he felt like he was like a rabbit among so many elephants. Okay, so he saw that all the Brahmas came and offered their respects, and the thing is that all the Brahmas can only see themselves with Krishna. But this four-headed Brahma, he can see everybody. So that is the arrangement Krishna made. So that Brahma can see all the other Brahmas. Okay, so, and then what happened is that then Krishna will say, this universe is the smallest universe. Okay, let me find. Okay, some of the universes are 1 billion yojanas, some 1 trillion, some 10 trillion, and some 100 trillion yojanas. So they are unlimited in area. It's really huge. According to the size of the universe, there are so many heads on the body of Brahma. Okay, and Krishna will tell Lord Brahma, your particular universe extends 4 billion miles. Therefore, it is the smallest of all the universe. So therefore, you have only 4 heads. Okay, so This is how Krishna tells Brahma that Krishna's creation is vast than what even Lord Brahma could see. Krishna will say beyond the Viraja river, right, the causal ocean, outside the innumerable universes, if you can visualize the pictures I used to show, Krishna will say beyond this, there is a spiritual world which is indestructible, eternal, inexhaustible, and unlimited. It is the supreme abode consisting of three-fourths of the Lord's opulences. It is known as Paravyoma, the spiritual sky. So this story is taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. So this describes, one, the opulence of Krishna, and how this particular universe that our earth is already small in this vast universe, and Krishna is telling now this universe itself is the smallest universe, and there's bigger universes around us, okay, outside there, and beyond this there is Krishna and his spiritual world, which is 3/4 of his entire creation. Okay, so just a quick recap of what we learned in these 3-4 verses. Material world is a reflection, right? If you remember the tree inverted of spiritual world. And the goal of this knowledge is to know how to detach ourselves from the material world. And knowing this, we should surrender to Krishna and attain the spiritual world. So these are the 3 points we learned. Okay, now 15.7. Meena Mataji, okay, I will read. Mamaivamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manasastandriyani prakriti stani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. So we are part and parcel of Krishna. Due to the conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. Okay, so if you remember, there is soul and there are layers of covering around us. That's called subtle body. Okay, if you attended the Garuda Purana, also the talk, Prabhu also mentioned that. But anyway, if you didn't listen to the class, it's also okay, because I've been mentioning that in chapter 13 and chapter 14. So subtle body, right? Mind, intelligence, false ego, okay, plays important role when we go to different species of life. So whatever impression that we have in our life now, it's recorded in this subtle body. All right, so like that, we carry our consciousness to another body. So whether it's upward or downward or sideward, subtle body plays important role. So it's very important to purify these 3 layerings around our soul. All right, because if you want to go back to spiritual world, we have to shed, not only we have to shed the body, we have to also shed these 3 subtle elements. Okay, this is referring to the process of transmigration. So due to conditioned life, we are struggling very hard. This one we covered already in chapter 40. Why? Because of all the 24 elements, we are becoming conditioned by these 3 modes of material nature. So all this, okay, is related. 15.8. Prema Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sariram Yad Avapnoti Yaj Kapi Utkarmatishvaraha Gritid Vatani Shamyati Vayurgadhan Ivashayat Shostram Chaksu Sarpsanam Cha Rasanam Granam Evacha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayan Upashevati. The living entity in the material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So remember this part here? He thus enjoys particular set of sense objects. So this is a continuation of the process of transmigration. Okay, so our thoughts, remember the 3 layers of covering, right? All the impressions in that 3 layerings, mind, body, mind, intelligence, false ego. So our thoughts in this life arrange for our next life. Okay, Just like the air carries the aroma. Okay, when the air passes over garbage, piles of garbage, it carries the smell of all the garbage. Okay, but when the air passes over a rose garden, then the air carries fragrance, right? Nice smell of the roses from the garden. So in this way, our mind, whatever activities we do, okay, whatever consciousness that we are developing, the modes that we are developing, our mind carries that different ideas and thoughts about who we are. In this way, we, hold on, my charger. So in this way, we enjoy a set of, enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So it influences what kind of body that we are going to take in the future. Okay, so in text 9, Krishna is talking about that how we take another gross body, we obtain a certain type of ear or eye, tongue, a nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. These are all knowledge acquiring senses, right? So, you know, sometimes some birds, they can actually see very sharp, can see very sharply from a distance, like an eagle. And then sometimes we see there's that cat can see in the dark. So these are all the ability they have developed. And when they take a certain, a particular type of body, they enjoy that strength of that sense. Okay, so some animals have a very powerful sense of hearing. They may hear the slightest sound. So in the same way, according to our qualification in this life, we get a body in the next life. All right. So it is said that if a person is very attracted or attached to very strong smell of perfume, they may, they like to apply a lot of perfume on their body to have very fragrant smell. It seems they will take body of a deer. It seems in Himalaya, there are deers that can produce perfume from their body. So people who like the perfume smell very much may get a deer's body who gives out good smell. So like that. Okay. And then, yeah, so this is an important point here. Okay, so when I say important, you know why. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects when he takes a particular body. Okay. All right. Okay. So whatever we want to do, the subtle elements will enable us to take that form. It gives us more facility in whatever that we would like to enjoy. All right. So here there is a person who's like cutting meat here. So he would take a form of tiger here. So Krishna gives the facility. Okay, you like it? All right. So I give you unlimited supply in that way. And this one here, a person featured on a magazine, not dressed. So they may get a body of a tree. So you can stand naked without clothes for hundreds of years. Okay, so this picture here, I think this is a pig. I'm not sure what activity is he doing. Can anybody know? It's a very famous image, but I cannot really get what he's doing. I think he's eating also. Eating a lot of food. Yeah, anybody knows? Gluten. Eating, right? So yeah. So what he becomes? He becomes a pig, right? And then here a person who loves to sleep gets the body of a bear, so they can enjoy more. Okay. So in other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life, he gets a cat or dog body and enjoys. Okay. So we have to be careful what we want to enjoy. All right. So like that, we transform ourselves to different bodies. So this is process of transmigration. So Krishna has covered process on transmigration. So we want to recap. The goal for us should be to leave material world and return to spiritual world. Okay, because we are eternally part and parcel of Krishna, but we are struggling from body to body in search of pleasure. Okay, so the goal is to leave material world, return to spiritual world. However, we are stuck here, struggling from body to body, jumping from branch to branch, the tree. Okay, so this is about Krishna's understanding Krishna's position as the maintainer. Prema Papu Mataji, you there?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji. Okay. Yat aditya gatam tejo jagat basya yati kilam yat chandramasi yat chagnao tat tejo vidi mamakam gama vishya chabutani darayam haham ojasa Pushnami chausat sarvaha samo bhutva rasatmakaha. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Hare Krishna.
Right. Thank you, Mataji. Very clear and nice. Okay, so Krishna is talking about his position as our maintainer. So here he talks about how he pervades the world as Brahman. Brahman means energy, energy that comes out from Krishna. Okay, so as a sun, we see that sun gives us light every day. It gives light and heat for many millions of years. The sun never goes out. It never had a power problem, power shortage, no blackout. It's always giving heat and light. So Krishna is saying that heat and light of the sun coming from me. Okay, so if you don't have moon and sun, then the whole place will be dark. It will be terrible. And then Krishna say, I'm the fire, the splendor of fire. I mean, from me comes the fire. So fire is also important to give us heat, gives us warmth, for us to cook, eat, create energy. Okay, all this coming from Krishna. That's what Krishna is saying, his position. And then Krishna talks about how he maintains the planet in its space. Okay, when we take some sand in our hand, the sand falls, right? We can't even keep sand in our hand. But how Krishna is maintaining the planets in its orbit, no clashing. People say this orbit, this planet will clash with each other, so we never have that, right? It's perfectly situated and maintained with his energy, Krishna's energy. So Krishna keeps all the planets floating in space. So this is his inconceivable power. Okay, so and then next Krishna talks about how he becomes the moon and supply the juice of life to all vegetables. This moon gives special ray. It allows the vegetables to have juice. So when we eat some vegetable, it's tasty. So we know, okay, this juice is given by Krishna. Okay, so like this, Krishna is maintaining us by giving us varieties of vegetables with nice taste. He's maintaining us. He's maintaining the entire world, and then he's maintaining us. He's giving us one by one. Okay, like our father, he's giving. Okay, so we move to the next one, 14. Okay, earlier we saw how Krishna maintains the cosmic. Okay, now he see how he maintains us at personal level. Pushpa Mataji.
Not here, MJ.
Oh, it's not there. Huh? Okay. Okay, let me read. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff. Okay, so when we eat food, we have to have the power to digest the food, and that power comes from the fire of digestion, and that fire comes from Krishna. So if you don't have good digestion, we won't be able to eat or digest the food properly. So that's why Krishna is giving us, as a fire of digestion, is giving us this facility so we can have good appetite. Okay, so the next Krishna say, I'm the special air of life. All right, it's useful to digest 4 kinds of food. Okay, so what are those 4 kinds of food? Anybody? Anyone want to try? Okay, so it's licked, chewed, swallowed, and sucked. So Bhagwan arranging these different ways to help us to digest our food. So we see how Lord Krishna is taking so much of care for us, like a father. He's providing so many very things for us, so many things for us. Okay, so now we have seen how Krishna pervades. He's providing everything from Brahman potency, energy. Next, we see how as Paramatma he's providing, he's maintaining us. Okay, 15:15. Saras Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15.15. Sarvasya chaham hirdi sannivisto mata simtir jnanam apohanam cha vedascha sarve aham eva vedyo vedanda krita veda cha. Mataji, my children want to chant. Let them chant.
Nice.
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्य निर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदस्य सर्वे अहम् एव वेदो वेदान्तकृत् वेदविद् एव चाहम्.
Wow. They attend the Gita Gyan, Mataji?
Yes, they attend all the Gita the camps, everything they attend, Mataji.
Yeah, so that is the tune for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
They've been trying to teach me, but they gave up.
Okay, so next time you can engage them, Mataji. They can do the Sanskrit, you can read the English.
Sorry, Mataji, thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
In translation, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. What are their names, Mataji?
Savitri and Vindhya, Mataji.
Savitri and Vindhya, great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, see so many compliments from the Matajis. You can show them that. So nice. Yeah, we encourage them. Okay, so here Bhagwan is describing that he is as Paramatma. He's in everyone's heart. So this is a confirmation about Krishna's position here. Of course, Krishna has confirmed in so many places previously, but again and again he is telling us this. Okay, as Super Soul, Krishna provides and acts in different ways. Okay, first he talks about remembrance and knowledge. So for some people, he provides knowledge. He helps to remember their past lives, who they are, why they are here. This is exceptional, all right? And then sometimes Krishna gives us knowledge to help us to understand the nature of the world. Like now Krishna is giving us this knowledge. Okay, this nature of the world is temporary, is full of miseries, and we are forcefully acting because of the modes of material nature's influence. Okay, and then he tells us, however, we need to know what is our duty here. So he tells us from the heart what we should do. Don't do this, do that. All right. So how do we check whether Krishna is talking to us from our heart? We need to have a guru. So one time somebody asked our Guru Maharaj, how do we know the super soul is talking to us? So Guru Maharaj answered, the super soul talks to us through Guru. All right, we can read Bhagavad Gita, and then we have Prabhupada's words. Okay, so those who have Guru, they receive instructions from their Guru. So this is how the super soul talks to us. Okay, a Guru, a bona fide Guru is a representative of Krishna. So that's how Krishna talks to us. That's how Krishna guides us. So these are the various ways. Okay, so how the super soul talks to us, super soul guides us. So this is what Krishna is saying. I'm seated in everyone's heart, and then I'm giving the remembrance and knowledge. Okay, so how about forgetfulness? Why Krishna gives us forgetfulness? Okay, for some people, Krishna let them forget. So they will enjoy their life, because we have come here because we want to enjoy independently from Krishna. Okay, so Krishna makes us forget about our past life or the suffering that we had in our past life, so we can enjoy more until we get the knowledge. So who listened to today morning's class? Chapter 13, text 3. So in this class, Guru Maharaj mentioned that it's just like how a person acts on a drama, on a stage. So when you go on a stage, you want to forget that you are an actor. You become one with the role. If you are supposed to have a fighting scene with your friend, you cannot restrict yourself from fighting. Oh, he's my friend, how can I hit him? No, you need to forget yourself so that you can bring out the spirit of the acting. So this is how Guru Maharaj explained today. So that is a success of the drama. Otherwise, you cannot fully act, fully enjoy the drama, and people also cannot relish it. Okay, so that's why Krishna allows us to forget so we can enjoy. So like this, you see, Krishna, you want knowledge, Krishna gives. You want to remember, Krishna gives. You want to forget, also Krishna gives. Okay, so we want to ask what it matters to us. Okay, and then finally Krishna talks about the conclusion of the Vedas. Okay, Krishna says, by all Vedas I am to be known. So this is the purpose of the Vedas, it's to know Krishna. Can anybody tell me why Krishna says I'm the compiler of the Veda? Anybody knows why he says I'm the compiler of Veda? Did he compile it? We know that he gave Veda, the first-hand information he gave Lord Brahma, the beginning of the creation. Why Krishna says here, I'm the compiler of Vedanta? Anybody knows? Why Vyasadeva Mataji? Why? Yeah? Why? That's Vyasadeva. Why Krishna says that he is the compiler? Isn't it Vyasadeva? Krishna is incarnation of Vyasa? Is Krishna is an incarnation of Vyasa? Okay, Vedanta means end of the knowledge, compiler of Vedanta. So who compiled this end of knowledge? Okay, Vyasadeva. If you remember the 6 categories of avatar, you all attended, right? There is 6 categories of avatars, and then at the end are the lion avatars. So there is one avatar called literary incarnation of Krishna. And who is the literary incarnation of Krishna? Amita Mataji, you are very close. It's Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is literary incarnation of Krishna, not Krishna is incarnation of Vyasadeva. Okay, all right. Yes, Vyasadeva is literary incarnation of Krishna. That's why Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedas. Okay. And I am the knower of the Vedas. He is the object of the Vedas. He is the compiler of the Vedas. By Vedas, he is to be known. He is the conclusion of the Vedas. Okay, so here Lord Krishna describes, right, it's a wrap up on this, how as Paramatma, he helps maintain everything in the material world. And he gives remembrance. If you are dedicated, he allows us to remember. From him only we get forgetfulness. Essence of the Veda is me. That's what he's saying. So we can read all the Vedas and come to this conclusion, or we can read Bhagavad Gita and come to this conclusion. So we can choose which one. All the homeworks are done by the great sages and given to us. Agreed. All right. So we don't have to do the homework all over again. But if you want to do also can, you will come to this conclusion only. Okay. So let's recap this part here. Krishna's position as our maintainer. We should be attracted to Krishna by knowing his position. So by knowing all this, we want to get attracted to Krishna because we want to be attached to him. Then only we can be detached from this material world. So how we want to be attracted? Seeing Krishna as the maintainer of both the cosmic and personal levels, at the cosmic and personal levels. So all the sun and moon, right? And then he maintains us by being the digestive fire. He's the air going in and out. 4 types of food. Just now Mataji asked 4 types of food: licked, sucked, chewed. Forgot what was the other one. Mataji, can help me? Somebody? Licked, sucked, chewed.
Drunk.
Drunk, okay, yeah, thanks. Drunk, Mataji?
Yeah, drink.
Okay, thanks, Mataji. All right, and Krishna says compiler, he's the compiler of Vedanta and knower of the Vedas. Okay, so 1518, Shobha Mataji. Mataji,
Hare
are there?
Krishna, Mataji.
Okay.
Yasmat sharam atitoham aksharat api cho tamaha atosmi loke vede cha pratita purushotamaha. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the supreme person. Hare Krishna.
All right, thank you so much, Mataji. So basically, there's only one simple point here Krishna is saying. Later, I will tell you what is on the 16 and 17. This is 18. Okay, so Krishna is saying, I'm not the boss only here. I'm also boss over there. All right, so why I'm saying this? Okay. All right, so this is 16, 17, 18. This is the summary of the Vedanta. Okay, let's see one by one. Krishna says, there are the living entities in the material world are fallible. Fallible means tendency to make mistakes. All right, living entities in material world are fallible. And then Krishna compares living entities. Living entities in spiritual world are infallible. He's comparing the living entities in material world and living entities in spiritual world. And then Krishna says, to live in harmony with the Lord's desire is infallible. All right, we are fallible. However, if the living entities are harmonious with the Lord's desire, they become infallible. Means engaging in bhakti towards Krishna, to surrender to Krishna, to do service to him. That is called living in harmony with the Lord's desire. Okay, so conditioned living entities are fallible. Living entities in spiritual world are infallible. Living entities in harmony with the Lord's desire become infallible. Okay, so and then Krishna says, beyond both this material world and the spiritual world, the fallible or infallible, Krishna says, I am beyond this. Okay, there is this transcendental supreme person who's apart from this living entity in the material world, and then apart from this living entity in spiritual world, there is another person. He's beyond this. Beyond this, there is this super soul who maintains the three worlds. And then Krishna continues. He says, both in this world and the Vedas, the point is Krishna, he is celebrated as the supreme person, the super soul. This is what he mentioned in 15.18. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. So this is how he declares, how you see how he builds up his points and coming to the conclusion. Okay, so we move to 19. Yeah, Tamare Mataji.
Bhagavad Gita 15.19. Yoma eva asamodo jainati purushottama sarve vidvajantanti yam sarva bhavina bharata. Whoever knows me as Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
Okay, so by whatever means we want to be engaged in devotional service, and how? Without doubting. Okay, so we have a story on how we are to engage in devotional service, not mechanically or any other means or with some other intentions in return. I give you this, Krishna, you give me this. I'm doing this for you, you give me this. So that's one. We don't want that kind of business dealings. And number two, we cannot doubt. If you remember the Sakshi Gopal story, the Brahmana did not doubt Krishna, and that's why Krishna came walking behind him. So that's Sakshi Gopal story. And that temple is, the deity walked from Vrindavan to Puri. So now the temple is in Puri. The temple built for Sakshi Gopal is in Puri. So like that, we have another story of this deity called Alarnath. Actually, originally the deity was called Lord of Alvars. So it was called Alvarnath. But along the way, the name was shortened, become Alarnath. Okay, so we would like to invite Amita Mataji to bless us with the story.
Hare Krishna Mataji's.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay. All right. The title of today's story is Alarnath Scared by Sweet Rice. Once, a Brahmin named Sri Ketan, whose service was to offer food to Lord Alarnath, has to go out to beg provision for the Lord. Before he left, he instructed his young son Madhu to make the offerings, place the Lord's meals before him, and then pray to the Lord to accept the offering. Madhu brought the offering to the altar and placed it before Alarnath, praying, "Oh, my dear Lord, my father has told me to make your offerings while he is gone. Please accept this offering. I am only a little boy, and I do not know how to offer to you in a proper way." He then went out to play with his friends. When he returned, he saw that all the food was still on the plate. He became disturbed that the Lord was not responding to his request due to his inexperience. He said again, "Oh Lord, why haven't you eaten? If my father hears of this, he will be angry with me. Please eat." Again, he left and returned after a few minutes, still finding the offering there as before. Madhu began to cry, "My Lord, I understand that I'm not qualified to offer to you. I am only a little boy. I don't know any mantras or procedures for worship. But please accept this offering." The Lord was purchased by the boy's love. When Madhu returned the third time, Alarnath's plate was empty. Madhu happily carried the empty plate to his mother. She was surprised. "Where is the prasad?" "Alarnath ate everything," Madhu replied. The mother thought her son ate it, but Madhu did not. For 3 days, Madhu and his family fasted because whenever Madhu offered the Lord meal, he ate everything. When Sri Ketan returned and heard of the situation, he scolded his son. "What have you done with Lord Alarnath's prasadam?" "He ate it, father. I offered it just like you taught me." The father angrily replied, "Alarnath is eating everything? Nonsense! He is made out of stone. How can a stone deity eat? You prove it to me. You go and make an offering. I will hide behind a pillar and watch." The simple boy went before Alarnath and prayed, "My dear Lord, please accept this offering. I am only a little boy and I don't know how to offer to you in a proper way." After Madhu left, Sri Ketan saw the Lord reach down and pick up a bowl of sweet rice. Sri Ketan jumped from behind the pillar and caught hold of the Lord's arm, spilling hot sweet rice on Lord Alarnath's body. Sri Ketan said, "Stop! What are you doing? You are a deity. You cannot eat. Who ever heard of a deity eating? If you eat everything, how will we live?" Lord Alarnath replied, "O materialist, in the guise of Brahmana, I never accept offering from faithless person like you. Devoid of devotion, I accept the offerings of Madhu because he offered them with simplicity and love." That's all, Mataji.
So your point, Mataji, you wanted to share
Yes.
the point, right? Yeah.
There's 2 points actually we can learn from this story. One is the Lord reciprocate Madhu's love and devotion. We can relate that to Bhagavad Gita 9.26, which the sloka is Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachate. The translation is, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. And the second point is regarding faith. Like although Sri Ketan has been worshipping Alarnath, he doesn't have faith. So that is related to Bhagavad Gita 15.19. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. That's all,
Yes,
Madhuri. Thank you.
amazing sharing, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you for agreeing to narrate. Okay. All right, so that's the sloka. We wanted to use the example. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting, that's important. Without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Okay, last sloka. Vayi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Matajis.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 20. Iti guyatamam shastram idam uktam maya naga etad budva buddhi manshad kritta krityascha bharata. Translation: This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, so this chapter basically discussed about breaking our material attachment and understanding Krishna. Okay, he's the as Krishna is the maintainer. Okay, and how to understand this knowledge is to understand as it is given by the Lord. All right. So the word here anaga. Anaga means sinless. So Krishna is looking at Arjuna as a sinless person. Okay. So if we are sinful, too sinful, it's very difficult to understand Krishna. So in this sense, Krishna is telling Arjuna he is sinless. So what is the hope for people who are sinless? Can't they understand Krishna? So devotional service, Krishna is saying here, devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged in this devotional service, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. So why? Because we have weakness of the heart. The weakness is we have desire to lord it over material nature. We want to be the controller. We want to be the enjoyer. So that is the weakness of the heart that we have. All right. So lording over these material nature, it makes us attached to the matter. Attachment to the matter, that we attach the possession of the matter. So this role of chapter 15, the first 5 slokas describes about how we are to free ourselves from these weaknesses. And then from 15.6 to 20, Krishna talks about the yoga of the Supreme Person. He talks about himself, his position. Okay. So why the Lord Bhagavan is giving us this knowledge? For us to develop attachment towards him. If you don't know somebody, you cannot love him. You cannot develop attachment towards that person. Tak kenal maka tak cinta. So we want to cinta the Lord. We want to know about him. Alright, why we have to develop attachment to him? Because developing attachment towards Krishna is the way to develop detachment from the material world. Okay, so that is the point. And everyone must take to Krishna consciousness and devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Okay, so that's about it. I've already shared the quiz in the group. Thank you so much. I would like to say thanks to first Tamare Mataji for Prema Mataji for the Kirtan, Tamare Mataji for presenting the opening, and Amita Mataji for the story. I hope this kind of engagement will allow you to remember and reflect. All right. So in between, when you're preparing all this information or presentation, if you happen to have questions, then you can clarify, because this is also a way we can learn. Alright, sometimes when we hear everything, but when you want to prepare something and give, then you will ask questions to yourself, why is it like this? Why is it like that? So like this, when we teach, we learn. So that is my intention. And if at all you're not comfortable, that's fine. But we have few more classes, so I wish there are more things for you all to share as well. So maybe the first slide for chapter 16, somebody else can come forward and explain in the way that you would like. Like for example, I told Tamare Mataji to explain only the slide, but Mataji herself wanted to explain something more on Bhagavad Gita of what she understands. All right, so that's nice, right? So any questions, Mataji, at the moment? Or you can do your question already. So anybody wants to stay and ask anything? Tomorrow is Ekadasi. So I hope you have all your food ready. I'm hungry already today. I don't know.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, after this, after we finish our 18 chapters, what is our next step?
Okay, wait, let me see who's asking the question. Saras Mataji, yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Our next step is Bhakti Vriksha. Okay, so the materials are still in process, so I haven't gotten a chance to look at it, but somehow I know generally what is a Bhakti Vriksha. You are in Bhakti Vriksha, right, Mataji?
Yeah, I am, Mataji.
Yeah. So it's up to you. If you want to continue this, you can compare the content and see if it's different from what you are doing right now. You can, sometimes repetition is also good because we are associating with devotees here. It's very nice. It's very inspiring.
Mataji, it will be nice for me to continue with you as well. Mataji, the classes will be once a week, is it, on Sundays?
I think it should be. We can continue the Sunday like this, but I don't know the duration, whether 1 hour or 1.5 an hour or what.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, the Bhakti Vriksha is more interactive, right? You will also do
Kirtan. We will do Kirtan, all the chanting, and also we read beyond Bhagavad Gita. And there's a Kahoot question of books, Mataji.
Yeah, actually, I want somebody to help me with the Kahoot. I'm so pandai.
It's so simple, Mataji's Kahoot. I can help you.
So I know who to engage next time. I can just give the question. We can do Kahoot very fast.
Can.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Mataji's.